What happened?
I don't know.
Is it on D&D?
But to be honest, this is for the best. Okay?
No, it wasn't. We'd said some really good things. I don't remember anything now. I hate you.
I hate it here.
I hate it here.
Welcome back to the Whirly Bitten Pod. My name is Dominic.
My name is Matthew.
And I'm so sorry. We have been recording for like 10 minutes, but I didn't record.
It's okay. It's okay. I just had so many mean things.
But yeah, today we're just kind of talking about
everything that's going on right now with the documentary Quiet on Set.
Be very, very quiet.
And many former Nickelodeon child stars coming forward talking about the things they've experienced and unfortunately went through. And first of all, we would like to say that we both personally and us together as a podcast very much support the survivors in these difficult times, as this is honestly just so terrible that they went through these things. And it's completely unacceptable. And I truly want more people to be held responsible because this is utterly ridiculous in the most umpteenth degree. And I apologize if I sounded funny there saying that. This is not a laughing matter.
Bitch!
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
But, no, seriously, I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's okay.
Dark humor is honestly one of the things that keeps, a lot of people hanging in there. So it's good. But yeah, it's been really weird to learn about this. It kind of like just shatters lots of different parts of my childhood, and makes you kind of look at the shows that you were watching in a very different light.
Mm-hmm.
Feet was always like a weird thing with Dan Schneider that I first kind of noticed that like made me like subconsciously uncomfortable. Mm-hmm. And then to hear about, like, first off, I didn't even know that like Dan Schneider did like all these different shows, like, so it was really weird to like see that he worked on all these different things.
I wasn't paying attention to the produced by at the
neither
end of
was
each
neither
show.
was I.
I remember one was a light bulb with the electricity. I think it was a Nickelodeon product. I think it was All That or one of those ones.
Yeah.
But
with the face, with the eyes, and then all that written in the mouth.
Yes, that one. Hi, I'm Paul. Like Paul's
Jimmy
Neutron DNA. Like the at the end of kid shows, they'd have the producers like sign off or whatever. Snyder's Bakery. I remember seeing that, and I'd be like, oh, okay, that's just like this show.
Yeah.
And then you start to realize what they are and what it is. And you're like,
oh,
okay, so they're all created by the same person. Oh, who is this person that created shows that I very much enjoyed? It's this guy. Cool. I'm 11, 12. I don't know anything more about this guy than I need to, because that stuff wasn't out by then, at least not in my sphere.
Right.
Cut to so many years later, where we're learning more things because people are coming out saying things and or not saying things. Read a book. Specifically, I'm Jeanette McCurdy's I'm Glad My Mother Died, which is a very well done book. I have yet to read it.
Yeah.
But
oh, really?
It's you and Zach telling me how amazing it is.
No,
and
seriously.
So many other people I
love it.
Whose opinions I respect have read it. The thing is, I lived across the street from a bookstore. I should just go at some point. Mm-hmm. I love that we're mature enough to not make the joke. Oh no, it didn't record anymore because that pissed me off. We did that again.
It's not funny.
Yeah, let's not do that again. Agreed?
Agreed.
Immediately no.
You know what's crazy? Is that this guy got through so many different productions for so many years on a kids-based network, creating kids shows, and then just letting his disgusting fetishes run rampant within the influence of the creation of said shows.
Well, what's just crazy too is, so the fact that like with this documentary, how they talked about like created like a certain power dynamic with how everything was like happening. So where like people felt like uncomfortable in their workspace with Dan, and they expected certain, it was just kind of like expected to be his way, like even if on paper, oh well, you can always come to me and you can always do this, but it's like, yeah, you can always come to me, but like I've created an unsafe, toxic workspace to where I'm going to kind of get whatever I want, and this is what's going to happen because nobody wants to get on my bad side.
Yeah.
And then to have like that, like across the entire Nickelodeon sphere with like other people being involved in that and employing 3 known P3DOs to these children's channels, and then them getting caught doing a little bit of time and then sending them back out and having them go to a different children's channel. Like what?
And allowing that to happen, you're saying?
And allowing that to happen.
Yeah.
That's insane. That's just fucking. That's so crazy to me.
What's crazy is I feel like jobs will test you, are more likely to test you for drugs than to check to see if you're a.
Well, isn't that what background checks kind of are? A little bit.
I think it's more to make sure you don't have a felony on your record, and if you do,
gotcha.
They say it doesn't affect it, but they need to know.
Right.
So it doesn't affect you. That depends. I don't think that's really a case,
okay.
Unless it's like a certain job that no one really wants,
yeah.
And they employers know that.
Well, there's also like
They're not
rehabilitation programs out there, so like maybe there's more jobs.
But your record doesn't necessarily state like, oh, you're registered, but you went to a rehabilitation thing and got a certificate. Right. That certificate's not going to omit the fact. It's just I feel like societal norm to be like, good for you, but no.
Yeah.
I'm glad you were not convicted as a pedophile, but you can't babysit my kids.
Yeah.
It's just like one of those things like the state never washes off.
You can't work for a children's company.
Yep.
You cannot work with children and write and like be near children. You know, like why are we doing this? And on top of that, to have him be friends with fucking John Wayne Gacy. What the shit is that? Even wrote your friend John Wayne Gacy when he like did the self-portrait of him as the clown that he hung up in his fucking house. Like, bro. And I am actually really curious.
Was he like a real life It from the movie It?
Yeah, that's where like It was kind of based off of.
Is it really?
Yeah. Because yeah.
I thought he based it off.
Some influence.
I thought he based it off Twisty the Clown.
Oh yeah, because Twisty the Clown was totally first.
Yes, I thought.
You're right. Yeah, no.
Stop making jokes. This is serious.
Never was.
Never was serious.
No.
Wow. You heard it here first.
Twisty the Clown was never.
Okay. An ally.
First. I'm really curious to know what Dylan and Cole Sprouse have to say about the
Quiet on Set.
About the Quiet on Set, about what the situation is. Kim Rhodes did something. The woman who played their mom, she did a TikTok about it, but she hasn't even watched the docuseries. She just has been hearing a lot about it. She came out and she said that she was very emotional about it and said that her heart was with the victims
on TikTok. I like the
and TikToks. She never she hasn't watched it yet, but it's crazy. Like she said something, but I want to hear if Dylan and Cole Sprouse,
the actual people who were children at the time,
if they encountered this guy who had done this terrible thing to Drake Bell and then like gone and worked
the pet guy,
yes, and then gone and worked with them, and it's like what? Like I'm curious, but
like if it were to happen, I would be interested in listening.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, I get that. True.
Right. True. Like, because
like when people want Amanda Bynes to say stuff, even though people.
Well, it's also just
pretty understandable things. No, or how do I say this? Sorry, because people kind of understand that she went through things her own self,
right?
And so it's like they would want her to talk.
But I'm saying it's about holding people accountable, and it's making sure that this person who has done these terrible things, that they're free and walking around, that they're not continuously doing it and creating more harm. Because I think that's one of the biggest things that kind of like really frustrates people is like what like there's only so much you can do. Like, wow, this person did this terrible thing, but they serve their time and then they go back and they just could possibly do it again. And you want to make sure that this person's not in your communities to be able to do that to
Yeah.
these people or to your kids. Um, it's scary.
So one former actress, excuse me, that has been very vocal about her experience has been Alexa Nicholas, and a lot of her content is her exposing and talking about the abuses that happen behind the doors of Hollywood for young actresses and actors alike. And it's very much activism work, and she's very passionate about it. Anything you watch with her and about her stuff, you can tell she's the person in the room with the most spirit, with the most fire going on. Um, she has been talking about this for many years before all of these
She
things
has been
happened.
doing this for a
She started a
while.
nonprofit activist group, and they are doing terrific things right now. We do applaud her for coming forward, of course, and speaking her truth and still persisting, even though uh, the others in power have not always been the kindest to her in getting her message out. That is also just another form of trying to silence survivors and victims, which is not ever okay. And I've also been seeing a lot of other former All That cast members come out and talk, or at least give statements. Excuse me. I will say. Um, there are other people who have given their side of what happened or their viewpoint of things of their experience, such as Kenan Thompson, also very well known for being on SNL for the past number of years now. And I think he got a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, which is awesome for him. Yeah, so he was talking about like he had never experienced that, but he does support those who it has happened to.
Yeah, it's just really unfortunate. One of the ones that made me like pretty uncomfortable was the relationship with of Amanda Bynes and Dan Schneider,
Mm-hmm.
and how like they openly kind of had this like weird relationship in front of our faces, and like nobody questioned it. And like I remember the jacuzzi hot tub scene um, from the Amanda
Mm-hmm.
show with like Dan Schneider just sitting in the hot tub with her, and I'm just like, how did I not think that was weird?
I never honestly understood the hot tub scene in terms of that, what it
It was
was.
random. It
It
was so
was. It was
random
random.
to
But
me. I
again,
was just
it's one
like,
of those things like with the feet. Like that was just kind of common at times. Smelling feet. Ew. Ha ha ha. That was the end of the joke. There was nothing more feet related than that joke. To understand the other hand of it now, gross. But when the hot tub, I was like, oh, okay. Well, they've had other guests in this hot tub, or she has. Excuse me. It was her and other people.
mm-hmm.
And from my understanding, everyone was in their uniforms, and that was the joke. She's like, "This is my show. I'm in my hot tub. This is my guest. They don't have a spin suit, so they're wearing their full-on chef outfit. If they're a chef, I
Yeah.
don't know, or they're dancing lobsters. Oh,
Oh my god, I love the dancing
weren't they
lobsters.
hilarious?
Oh my god.
So like one of those things. So it was just one of those things where you were seeing it happen, you were laughing, you thought it was quirky and different because it was. They're wearing clothes in a jacuzzi. Ooh, didn't think it was an issue. And then you see him in there. I I didn't still didn't think it was an issue. I thought it was just a joke they were
I
doing.
didn't think it was either. And then
Yeah.
you're like, and then looking back, you're like, oh, why is this grown ass man sitting in a hot tub with like a fucking 10-year-old
You don't do that.
in a bikini? Like what? And you know what? And I love Amanda Bynes. You know, my heart, like she's she's great.
I started watching all of that, and then I remember watching the opening sequence, and I was like, "Oh my god, memories!" Um, and then she's like, "Cool guy, love you, Dan." I'm like, "Oh," I flinched.
Yeah.
I was like, "Oh, I don't like that."
Do you remember Victorious?
Like in general, or
Yeah, the
specifically
show.
something.
You remember Victorious, the
Yeah.
show? So in Victorious,
Mm-hmm.
Tori in her locker, you open it and it has like who's like hottest man alive or whatever, and it said like Dan Alicious, and it's a picture of Dan Schneider like in her locker.
I've never seen that.
It was in Alexa's video. She's
Huh?
yeah, yeah. It's just like
Oh, one thing that has really disturbed me and I'm only going to bring it to light because I just already am started talking about it, is the videos they did with Ariana Grande. That was so uncomfortable. Rewatching that is what gave me the biggest visceral reaction. I dry heaved when I first saw it as an adult after watching all this. I'm like, this is basically soft horror right there. And this is a literal child. And what's weird is like it's a literal child, and then we've watched her over the years to where she is now in current day. So it's kind of like, you watch your friend grow up from like a child to an adult. I know it's a parasocial relationship.
Squeezing the potato fucking joke, like
I'm thirsty.
Who-
Upside down water.
who the fuck is squeezing a potato? Like, I've never once in my
No.
life looked at a potato and was like, let me squeeze it.
Yeah.
What? Okay. And then I was watching TikTok the other day. AmandaPlease.com. A man to please.
Yeah.
What the fuck? I was like, okay. And then Penelope Taint.
I truly feel like Amanda Please was just a coincidental. I truly think that. I'm not saying I don't want to excuse anything they did, and if this is something they did, they need to go to hell for it. But I truly just listening to it, I'm like, I feel like that's the one thing that's just a little bit too.
But that's the thing though, is like they really painted him out. They really painted him out to be like diabolical.
Yeah.
So like, of course,
like they'll use it. No, I get it. They'll use it against him.
Pulling everything.
I just feel like, okay, you had the assumption, but I feel like it was honestly just like a.
No,
I see what you did there. Yeah.
Maybe. Yeah.
Sorry, I was thinking of Austin Powers. Ivana who? Ivana Humpalot. Have you seen those movies?
Yes.
Yeah. What was it? Alata who? Alata Vagina.
Wow. Michael Myers.
Mike Wazowski.
Isn't that crazy? Sorry, no, we're not doing that ADD train. I was like, Michael Myers.
No trains tonight, Dom? I think it's also just understanding that reviewing everything that's happened and with more things coming out about things that occurred, it's just very hard to understand why this would happen in the first place, why people were able to be in positions they were in to do what they did to people they affected.
Why people ignored things for so long, and why people ignored things for so long
was
so
it
that
just,
they can stay.
Was it just for money? Because how much money is enough? I would like to know. How much money is enough for the innocence of children who have done nothing but tried to pursue their dreams?
And then, also for some children, literally providing for their families, like
yes,
being almost like a cash cow type thing.
A cash cow.
There needs to be better programs in place and people to stop investing in their own self-interests for the betterment of society as a whole. And of course, the fact that everyone has a fucking opinion that is unique to their own, meaning no one can agree on anything like that.
Yeah.
Enough to get certain change done. But here we are. But it's okay. We're not nihilists like that. I'm nihilist. So I think we should end today, guys, with the reminder that it's very easy to get taken advantage of in many situations in life. And I think the best way to help yourself in this situation is to recognize it and take necessary steps to get away from it. I know this sounds like a duh answer, but it's sometimes I feel like harder for people to do.
Sometimes
they get comfortable.
The easiest things, like sometimes it sounds
they'd rather
like
adapt
so easy
than
that you're like,
to change.
okay, but then it's like it's actually not that easy, you know?
I said it's easier for them to adapt than to change. I'm like, that's literally the same thing. But yeah, so
I'm sorry.
Dominic, what do you think?
I think that like my closing thoughts on all this is basically just don't let these terrible things that happen take away from your childhood. They definitely had their place. A lot of these things were going directly over my head until looking back as an adult. And I know, talking to my mom, like she used to kind of watch, all that and stuff growing
Mm-hmm.
up. So like all of these things just kind of like went completely over our heads. Ooh, hold on, pause. I mean, not pause. Totally related. The one of the biggest things that really, I guess, irked me with Dan Schneider recently is the fact that he did like a quote unquote apology video on Dan Warp.
Mm-hmm.
That it turned off all the fucking comments. Did it with the fucking dude who played Tebow in iCarly,
Yep.
which dude had like 2-3 lines
Yep.
in the fucking thing. So
Mm-hmm.
what are you like? Who are you to? You probably stepped up online, said your 2 lines, left, went and got a sandwich. Who said you were around all that often? Granted, I don't know.
Thank you guys for joining us today. I'm so sorry that if this was a more depressing episode, talking about real life awful things does tend to bring down the mood. But again, we felt like it was something we wanted to talk about today because again, we did grow up watching these things during our formative years. There's the production, there's the actors, and then there's us, the audience. And
Um, for our closing statements with all this, our hearts are with the victims. Everyone has their own story, and just hopefully we now that we're aware of these things and now that they're happening, we can take the necessary steps to be able to prevent these things from happening in the future. And my rose for the week, rosebud thorn, would be, I think I have a very promising opportunity coming up. My thorn would be, it's been a lot of pain to get there. And my bud would be, I am about to start something new.
I mean, everything's good right now in general. It's not like one is particularly better than the other.
And that's it.
Okay. I don't have a rose because my whole life is a field of them. But I will say my thorn has been this weather as of late because I have not been able to go out and do things, which is very much a hindrance to me, and I don't appreciate it.
That wind.
There's like hurricanes going on. There was a tornado watch in
Yeah, I was like, hold
Illinois.
the fuck up.
And my seed is
Bud. No one's talking about your seed, dude.
Is that what your mom said? Hi, Mom. And my bud is that I have some wonderful things in the works that will become apparent in the coming weeks, and I will update you as they do. I just want to thank you guys again for joining us today. You are amazing. Please comment, like, share, subscribe if you care to.
Please.
And you have been royally bitten. I'm Dominic.
And I am also Dominic. No, I'm Matthew and Dominic.
You just killed that.
You have been royally
bitten. Yeah.
The royally bitten. Wait. The royal bitten podcast. This has been the royal bitten podcast.